What's up, guys? So I tend to do quite a bit of Instagram lives during the week, and on there recently somebody asked about how to build up their speed. That's a tricky question because to me, I don't consider myself a fast player. In the box that I'm comfortable with, maybe I've figured out enough shapes where I can get through some stuff, but I don't consider myself a fast player at all or a blazing speed. I got these big catcher's mitts for hands, and I fumble around with my right hand all the time. So I kind of caught on to a few things over my years of learning, and one thing in particular comes directly from seeing Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of cop this Albert King meets Jimi Hendrix style of rhythm and lead playing at the same time. I would keep my eye on his right hand a lot. I really focused on Stevie's right hand because I felt like when you were hearing a lot of power coming from the right hand, because if you take the precision and the funkiness and the gracefulness out of the left hand, he was playing some pretty common notes in and around the pentatonic scale. It wasn't like he invented a new style of playing, but I mean, his ferocity and his attack, and like I said, that funkiness from within and the soul really is what sets him apart when you look at his left hand playing. But on the right hand, it gets overlooked a lot for a lot of his tone, a lot of his way to project volume, project notes to come out, and when he would reserve the flat pick and you would hear something like, and he would get those to sting. I feel like when you hear him go, he's using his fingers there, and you can see a lot of that visually on these bootlegs. El Macambo obviously has a lot of that in there. The Austin City Limits from 1983, American Caravan, and the Tokyo from 1985. They have a lot of examples where you can visually see him do that. Just sit with the DVD and watch. But what he's doing there is possibly, I guess you could call it hybrid picking, where he's got the pick really choked up on his thumb and index finger here. And I'm going to explain that a little bit too. He's obviously holding the wide end of the pick out, but he's not leaving a whole mess of pick out when he's doing that. He's bringing the leverage really close to his fingers. And I think that's what facilitates that big thunderous. These two fingers with that pick, it wasn't like he was just constantly flat picking every note, and I'm going to explain that a little bit. I think it's a great thing to try because once you kind of grasp it, you can audibly hear the difference from or so they're just great things to try, and it's really great that once you watch this, you possibly can go watch one of those bootlegs and see it firsthand. Maybe if it's something you never caught on to before. I just really think that a lot of people overlook Stevie's right hand and what he was doing in there, and a lot of the trickery that was going on, and there was a lot of power in here, and I think of his right hand as another drum in the band. But just check out some of these sound clips, and maybe this will help you. It's just some cool little licks, maybe taken from something like a Texas Flood or a Sky is Crying, just where it's audibly obvious, you can hear it, and maybe you guys can go check this out, and I hope you dig it. All right, so the first thing we'll get into is the pick. A lot of people ask about how did Stevie hold the pick, and I guess the internet tells us that he held it, with the fat end out. But if you look at conventional or traditional way people would use a flat pick, you get kind of this type of thing, and you pluck in each individual string, but in my eyes, in my ears, and what Stevie was doing when he was playing with the fat end out, he was really playing with the broad side of the pick like this, but also choking up on it quite a bit. And if you practice with that, if you leave the minimal amount of pick out, but you hit with that right hand and you kind of practice your aim to get those strings to come in contact with that pick in a strumming form, that's where he kind of gets a lot of that thunderous. I'm not asking a lot of the pick, and that kind of does sound different than if you were to take the pointed edge of the pick, and there is an audible different sound, so if you play with the broadside choked up and you spin it around and you get the pointed edge, to me I just hear a difference. A lot of that too is I don't know if it's a method of hybrid picking or what, but if you watch a lot of the bootleg DVDs, especially El Macambo DVD, you can see Stevie doing this really cool, these three fingers are kind of resting under the strings at time, to do something like this. And when he would do like a... picking every one of those notes, because for his ferocity and the way he played, it would be, I can't even do it because if you wanted to hear somebody pick each individual one of those notes, that's very much of a Ronnie Earl style when he would. But that's where Stevie and Ronnie kind of draw their differences. Stevie came from a school of Albert King and a lot of those older blues guys that were just playing with, take your flat pick and play this. And now cup your flat pick like that and go. You get two entirely different sounds, especially if you're on an Albert setting, you roll some tone on and you just go flat pick. Then you bring the meat of your fingers in. So that's something that I picked up, especially when he was playing fast and he'd do the. audibly just sit down with your guitar and an amp, you can hear the difference going from a flat pick to your fingers. Then when you play with the pick, then when you play with the pick, big difference from when you go. So to me, audibly, if I was trying to cop that Stevie thing, I can honestly hear the difference, and I can hear in the studio recordings when he's using his fingers, just because my brain has been able to differentiate between a pick sound and the finger, you know, especially when he's So it's just something to try to focus on. I found, like, if you watch the El Macambo DVD, you can get a really great idea of how he's just kind of hanging these fingers under, you know, just hanging them under the strings there to play kind of that rhythm and lead at the same time, you know, when he's going... So there you go. There's another, you know, maybe Stevie inside tip I can give. You know, I don't claim to be an expert. I know these SRV videos can sometimes be redundant on my channel, but I just have such a passion for that style of playing and what he did in his message. And if I can learn something and share it with you guys, I'm you know, who am I to hold something back or not, share something? But I really feel, if you start focusing on his right hand, a lot of that stuff, the delicate, the... Sorry, I got lost there, but a lot of that delicate playing will come through if you start focusing on what his right hand was doing. And like I said, practice choking up on the pick, maybe not leaving so much of the fat end out if that's what you want to try. If you want to maybe practice what the internet says Stevie did, because nobody really knows, you know, his guitar tech said or whatever it was. You can see him holding it that way, so that's one indication. I found this to be comfortable because I'm not as accurate, I'm not as precise with my right hand, and this allows me more area to grab. I know my good buddy Philip Sace likes to use the pick that way as well at times. So, I mean, maybe it is a common thing. It's a common thread with guys playing that style. But go check back some of those bootlegs. Focus on that right hand stuff. I wanted to give you guys a quick SRV style video. Maybe you can kind of add this little appendage to your playing and work some cool notes out. But I just know it definitely works for those notes that you want to sting when he... let yourself shine through while you're playing this stuff. It's great to have heroes, but we also want to sound like ourselves. You know what I mean? There'll never be another one, and I just think it's great to kind of shed some light on what he had going on with the right hand technique. It's well overlooked, and I think you guys should, if you're trying to cop that Stevie thing, really focus on the right hand. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's healing up inside and out in their own ways. Let's all stay strong as a unit, and we'll get there. Support your brother, support your sister, pick somebody up when they're down. Spread a lot of love, spread a lot of joy, and that's all we can do, man. We'll get out of it alive, I promise. All right, guys, we'll talk soon. Peace.